the vision, growth, and the listen. Lots been happening, y'all. It's kind of crazy. So let me just go ahead and give it to you straight. There was a disaster in the Oval Office between two presidents that obviously know what they're doing, but they're also a big old mess. So let's just kind of walk through it real quick. Ultimately, Vladimir Zelensky and President Trump were meeting in the Oval Office to discuss a mineral deal that was going to happen in Ukraine in exchange for the idea that the United States was going to, help them rebuild and do all the things that they needed to do. That was the plan. That was the way it was supposed to work out. Let's just say it didn't work out that way. Ultimately, what happened was they got into a screaming match. They argued with each other, and you had the president and the vice president there. So automatically, you had a unique dynamic, and they were meeting with Vladimir Zelensky. The issue was ultimately they did not feel that President Zelensky was thankful enough or grateful enough or bow down and kiss the ring enough, and so ultimately they thought they could essentially intimidate and say, you need to do this, you need to be more grateful, you need to do that, and all that, which is a common thing. It's a common thing in the United States that President Trump will do that to people, and they come back and they hat in hand will say yes sir and be compliant and do what they do in order to make sure that he's happy. What they didn't take into consideration is the fact that you would have a president who doesn't give a shit, who ultimately was like, you know what? Oh, well, I have literally had assassins after me. He's been fighting Russia for 3 years. He's dealt with people like President Trump. He's dealt with people that are strong men, if you will, and he is not afraid of anything. Both he and President Trump are TV people. Both of them know how to work a camera. They know how to make things happen. They know drama. They know all of the things that go with it to make it interesting. So is this a PR stunt? I don't think so. But ultimately, does it look like one? Yes. Kind of looks like Real Housewives of the, global politics. But ultimately, it's like, okay, let's see how this works. But I really think it does put things in a little bit of a, not peril, but we've got to get this fixed. Ultimately, this country has been fighting for their own democracy, their own freedom, their own land, and we as the United States should at least understand that, and understand that. And yes, ultimately we spent a lot of money there. That is not a lie. And ultimately, I think there is gratitude between the two countries. But do we think that because we help somebody, they should be screaming it from the mountaintops, or does it always have to be out in the open? And I think that's the question that comes up: are we in a point now where you have to publicly go ahead and say, thank you so much. We appreciate everything you're doing. We appreciate who you are. We appreciate, is that where we're at? Can we not do things in a subtle way? Can we not do things in a diplomatic way that maybe make things happen in that way? I think this, of course, is historically a long situation. Where we are, who we are aligning ourselves with is very, very interesting. We are going against our traditional allies, and that is very, very different. Generally, it was Germany, France, Great Britain. Those are the people that we have always kind of, Japan. All the people in the airs in the Pacific Rim. We generally are a competitor with China. China's a unique competitor with us in that, they have 20% of the world population in their borders. They are an economic superpower. But ultimately, their military power is not as strong as the United States. The United States has a stronger military power. We are economically the most powerful in the world. So we still are what I would consider top dog in this area. And so that's something to keep in mind. And so it is something that we're looking at going, okay, have we shifted our alliances? Have we changed the global, world order, if you will, and make it so that this is very, very different. And so ultimately so if we are hawkish, if we are being hawkish, it could mean that we are more pro-military, which I will tell you right now, this government is not. the United States government at this point, and has not been since President Bush Jr. was president. I say we have had a relatively reticent administrations through the Obama administration, the Biden administration, the first Trump administration, now the second Trump administration. He does not like to use troops. It's ultimately not in his nature to do it that way. He thinks he can negotiate his way out of everything. He thinks he can go in and create this opportunity everywhere. And I mean, that's yet to be seen. Ultimately, our government is dealing with its own stuff here at home, and we need to get that ironed out. But this caused a major ripple effect in everything that is going on. So hopefully you have a chance to watch the news, check things out. We'll see what happens, and I'll report on it as it comes up. But I appreciate you all, and hopefully you subscribe to the network.